Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks with Engani Titan. And as you can see, I've purchased the T49, transferred over the crew from the M41 Walker Bulldog. Did consider using the free XP, but I didn't have enough to actually get clear of the first package. I still would have been 10,000 short. And having played a couple of games in it, stock, this is the stock configuration, it's about the third game I played. It's essentially another Walker Bulldog. It's got the same, well, it's got the gun, I presume it's got the gun that the Walker Bulldog had prior to the nerf when they introduced the tier 10 light tanks and changed it back to the 76mm gun. Prior to that, a 90mm gun. Well, I had a couple of different 90mm guns, but one of them I think is probably this gun. And this is a pretty decent gun, so the biggest problem with it at the moment is the view range in comparison to the detection limit. Now, I'm not using coated optics, I'm using vents because I thought that vents in the long run is the better option for this tank, because in the end, when you get the final package, you have a 152mm derp gun. I think historically it was a gun missile launcher. It was so big, it was mostly meant to launch an anti-tank missile rather than standard ammunition. And like most derp guns in World of Tanks, it'll have pretty poor gun handling, long aim time, high dispersion. The usual kind of problems: high alpha, of course, and slow rate of fire. In all probability, that's what I expect. I haven't actually quite looked at the stats of it. And I'm not going to worry about it until I get to it. But meanwhile, the 90mm gun is a perfectly good gun. Like I said, I think my biggest problem is going to be just handling the fact that I'm more likely to be detected while I can spot stuff than I would be with the Walker Bulldog, at least while I have the stock configuration. I think it improves over time with the next turret. I have the crew boosted pretty much in every other way. But with vents, you should be getting something equivalent, I think, to what I would be getting in terms of view range with the given crew skills. With vents as I would be getting with coated optics. However, the vents will also improve all the other stats, and when you get the final gun, having all the other stats, having the gun handling stats and the aim time, the reload improved, I think will more than make up for losses in the view range side of things. On the view range side of thing, I was watching a game recently, as in the last couple of days, by Des Gamer, a YouTuber who does World of Tanks PC, and he's showing a 1.0 replay on Westfield where this guy in a T71 was a 1v7, I think, or 1v8. I can't remember what he started out, when he finished up as, but he was down with quite a lot of tanks. But he finished up killing 13 out of the enemy team, and killed about 9 of them. I think the first 8 tanks were killed, he hadn't been detected at all. And he killed pretty much every tank he killed. He was unspotted at the time of killing that tank, except maybe one. But other than that, practically every other tank he killed, he was unspotted at the time that he killed the tank. And the thing that I noticed is there's just so many more bushes and shrubs and hedge, trees and stuff on the PC maps, particularly the new maps, compared to the World of Tanks console maps, at least the Xbox maps. I don't know what it's like in the PlayStation. I presume they're the same maps. But the Xbox console maps are very poorly provided with in terms of shrubbery and vegetation to hide light tanks in, and it's one of the big problems with the game, I think, that light tanks are very difficult to play on the console version of the game. If it's not for the fact that sometimes you have, when they removed a lot of the maps there, they removed a lot of the rural maps, and you've finished up with an awful lot of either close terrain maps like White Park and Mines, where it's a really small map, or else you had maps with very little urban maps. And even like the newer map, No Mon Han, is a huge map, and it does benefit light tanks a little, in the sense that they their massive view ranges do help because they will see further and they can be undetected even in the open in comparison to every other tank type. But there is no cover. There's no foliage cover in that map at all. So you're protected only, camouflaged only by distance, rather than by you can't move into an advanced location where you're under cover. So I think the PC map, I'd much prefer if they had more foliage. I think it'd much be better if it was a more scout-friendly maps, rather than the current situation, which I think is just too harsh on the light tanks. You're forced to play light tanks in a lot of the cases, and a lot of maps as if they were very fragile mediums, and they neither have the guns nor the armour to actually play as mediums. Scout tanks benefit from the fact that they stay hidden. That's their job, stay hidden and spot stuff. Allow other people to, they're an intelligence gathering tool, not to wipe out other tanks. And it's just, I think, it makes the game difficult to play, and it gives lots of people bad habits in terms of the way they regard or treat spotters, because they're not used to the idea of people spotting stuff and remaining hidden, which I think is ultimately to the detriment of the game in the longer run. Anyway, enough of that. Decent enough tank, perfectly workable. It's not a bad tank stock. Please like if you enjoy the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you all again soon.